Now, he will know that my nephews, huge Falcon fans, my wife's brothers, huge Falcon fans.
Well, thank you.
And so so there's a lot of I have a lot of Falcon fans in the bloodline now.
Yeah, and I assume that if we play the Eagles, John, you'll be rooting for us.
I would assume that I would wish you the best in competition.
Get that Falcons gear right now at
yeah.
Falcons365.com to get the divisional gear. Brandon joins us on 680. Say hello to Mr. Blank, Brandon.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you, sir.
Mr. Blank, I think you've done a great job with putting this team together. You've really energized this city, and you can see it everywhere you go, in the stores, in the restaurants and bars. And I just wanted to get your opinion of what you thought is the real strength of this team and what the other teams, when they look at playing the Falcons, what makes the Falcons so hard to match up against. I'm going to hang up and listen to it. But great show, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
Well, I think what makes our team, has made our team very successful during this year, is that this is not a team that's strong on offense, strong on defense. I think it's strong on offense and defense. We're ranked 5th in the NFL on offense. We're ranked 5th in the NFL on defense. We're plus 14 on takeaways. We're one of the least penalized teams in the NFL, probably in the top 2 or 3 in that regard. So when you put that package together, a team that doesn't make mistakes penalty-wise, that takes the ball away, pretty frequently on a pretty regular basis, and has balance offensively and defensively, and has the ability to control the clock, and with our running game, and as a quarterback who's not flustered, playing in a big-time situation, whether it be in big games or in fourth quarters. Obviously, we've won a bunch of games in fourth quarter and overtime. I think those are the kinds of pieces, when you put them together in the puzzle, that produce the kind of success we've had.
Really love the mix you've got right now. These rookies, Weatherspoon, consider Moore pretty much a rookie in the way he's playing.
Right.
Peters, just to name 2 or 3 guys there. And then you got Abraham, Peterson, Dante Robinson has stepped up. This is a great mix with the young players and the veterans.
Right. And, the beautiful thing is that you see the vets really providing the leadership, not only on the field but off the field in the locker room. And it's amazing to see the maturity of a guy like a John Abraham. I've just seen him grow so much just personally as a Falcon, not just on the field but in the locker room with the players, and it's very, very impressive to me. So all the individuals you mentioned, a guy like 23, Dante Robinson, Mike Peterson, they've all added so much to the rookies, and the rookies, frankly, have played early and they've matured. Corey Peters had a wonderful year for us. Thomas Deku, who's been in the league with us now for 3 years now, a seasoned vet, and the list goes on. So I'm very, very proud. And they go back to that offensive line. That's a blend of veterans and younger players, and they've kept them together and they've worked hard together as a unit, and that means an awful lot to a quarterback and an awful lot to a running attack. And the work that a guy like 84, Roddy White, has put in this offseason, and Michael Jenkins and Harry Douglas and Finneran, of course, as always, working with Matt, and so all those things are reasons we are where we are today, and hopefully will carry us deep in the playoffs.
Buck, Mr. Blank sounds a lot like Bill Parcells rattling off these numbers. Well, that 84 is really good, and the 23 is good too. I'm telling you. You've learned over the years, Mr. Blank. You sound like a grizzled old coach.
Well, I've become a grizzled old owner now. So. But listen, I'm very proud of our organization, and again, as I said earlier, I'm really proud for Atlanta.
Jeff joins us on 680. Say hello to Mr. Blank, Jeff.
Hello, Mr. Blank. Congratulations on the year so far. I realize we've still got some work to do, but
a lot.
I tell you, it truly invigorates the city, and it's great to see the organization where it's at. What would you say your plans are kind of for the future to keep things as consistent as they are right now? Because I tell you, you've done a great job, and I think your staff and just the players are playing, and everybody, including the town, just feels it. We really love what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, that's a great question. Several years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, I did a study of every team in the NFL over a long period of time, over the last 10, 15 years, and the teams that have won consistently over that period of time are teams that have done what you're talking about, which has built an organization that they've kept together. So they've kept the general manager in place, they've kept their coach, their head coach in place, their coaching staff. Even in the case of an organization like New England that has lost a number of their coordinators, their head coach is still there. Their GM was there for a long period of time, and so we have that. That's our vision. is to keep our organization together, is to keep our general manager in place, keep our head coach in place, keep our coordinators, position coaches in place for as long as we can. We've had that group together for 3 years to look at the talent that we have, and that's where Thomas and Smitty have to make some tough decisions, but try to keep our core players together as long as we can to make the difficult, and sometimes there are difficult personal decisions. Sometimes you have to move on from a player. But, we're very, very thoughtful about that. But I think if you want to produce results in this league over a long period of time, have a sustainable winning program, which is what I was talking about earlier, you've got to have consistency at the top of the organization and as far down as you can get it.
I'm sorry there, Buck. I think that if you go back a couple years, Mr. Blank, that after that playoff loss in Arizona, a lot of organizations would have bluffed themselves into saying, you know what, we're good enough. We were 11-5, we're good enough.
Right.
And I love the fact that you guys stuck to what was preached would be the long-term building plan, and you didn't get sucked in by 1 year making the playoffs because it certainly paid off.
Well, the worst thing you can do in this league, it is so penal when you change a coach or even a general manager in this league because you end up changing schemes, you end up changing players, guys that were drafted in the first round. Suddenly the new guy looks at it and said, that guy can't play anymore. He actually, really never could play. You get into all those kinds of crazy discussions, and all the talent, all the positive momentum, energy you've built up in the organization is really lost for a period of time. So if you have talented people, and we do with the leadership we have on the football side of this business, and the business side, but talking about football right now, you want to keep them intact and you want to support them and stay the course and build a sustainably winning organization, like they have done, for instance, in the case of the Eagles, or in the case of Indianapolis, or the case of Pittsburgh. There are 4 or 5 organizations around the NFL that have that kind of characteristic built in.
Falcons owner Arthur Blank in studio here on 680 with Buck and Kincaid. Arthur, this beats the heck out of interviewing coaches like some of these other organizations are doing right now. What do you think of the news coming down with Harbaugh signing on with the 49ers, getting $5 million a year?
Well, I think they made a great choice. Obviously, his record at Stanford was superlative. He took a program that was not very good in a very competitive conference and made it one of the best in the nation. He's got a lot of energy. He obviously comes from really good bloodlines. His brother has done an outstanding job as a head coach in the NFL, and a very nice person as well. So I don't know Jim, but I know his brother well, and his brother's terrific. So and he's from the Bay Area. So I think for their franchise, for their fan base, they've made a great choice.
We'll keep an eye on Carolina and see what they're up to. They also secured the top pick in the draft.
They did. And I actually thought, we would be competing against the quarterback from Stanford in our division. That would be you'd have to look at the 4 quarterbacks in this division then, and it looks like the young man's staying in school, so we'll be okay as far as that's concerned. But Jerry Richardson is obviously a very seasoned owner, been a great owner in the NFL for a long period of time, and I'm sure they'll make a good choice. I personally had a lot of respect for John Fox. In the 9 years he was there, he did an incredible job and took them to the Super Bowl, and they won a couple of divisions and championships, etc. But he'll certainly land on his feet, and I'm sure they'll find a wonderful replacement coach for him.
Proud to have Arthur Blank in studio here on 680. We'll come back and take your phone call, your chance to talk to Mr. Blank. Falcons owner on 680, now on 93.7.